I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, and this is Focus on Israel. When emergencies occur, rapid medical treatment greatly increases chances of survival. Using specially equipped motorcycle ambulances, United Hatzalah's network of more than 6,000 volunteer medics help save thousands of lives each year across Israel in an average response time of 3 minutes or less. Hello, I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, founder of Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating and sharing the message of Christian biblical responsibility to the people and land of Israel in the face of a growing global anti-Semitism. Proclaiming Justice to the Nations was birthed to stop the silence, to wake up Christians and people of conscience to the realities of a world bent on destroying Israel and the Jewish people. In Israel, like anywhere else in the world, emergency situations occur. Whether natural disasters, terrorist attacks, or accidents such as traffic accidents, emergency medical personnel and equipment are needed on the spot immediately. United Hatzalah of Israel is the largest independent nonprofit, fully volunteer emergency medical service organization. It provides the fastest emergency medical first response throughout Israel. United Hatzalah's service is free and available to all people, regardless of race, religion, or national origin. United Hatzalah has more than 6,000 volunteers around the country, available around the clock, 24/7, 365 days a year. With the help of GPS technology and iconic ambucycles, the average response time is less than 3 minutes across the country and 90 seconds in metropolitan areas. United Hatzalah's mission is to arrive at the scene of medical emergencies as soon as possible and provide the patient with professional and appropriate medical aid until an ambulance arrives, resulting in many more saved lives. I had a great opportunity to meet Eli Baer, the founder and president of United Hatzalah. He gave me a great overview of his vital service as well as a tour of his headquarters facility in Jerusalem.
Imagine you're in a remote area. You get a heart attack and you call an ambulance. For that ambulance to get to you, it has to drive all the way through traffic and narrow streets. And by the time it gets there, you are dead.
This is how millions of people die every year. Ambulances are just not fast enough, and that is scary.
This guy found a unique way to solve the ambulance problem. The ambulance is too big, so Eli used a motorcycle and called it an ambucycle. Instead of employees, Eli found volunteers, regular people just like you and me, the teacher, the engineer, and the student. He trained them for months, gave them medical supplies and an ambucycle.
Drive carefully.
And he let them go back to their normal life. And every time someone calls for help, his technology finds the closest volunteer that can help.
Think of it like Uber, but this is for free and we save lives.
They drop whatever they're doing, arrive on the scene, and give medical care until the big ambulance shows up. This is how the difference between life and death looks like. Eli's system is so fast that any phone call is answered in 3 seconds or less. And show up in 3 minutes or less. This is the fastest medical emergency service in the world and the cheapest.
By the way, our team is 5,000 volunteers and it's all sponsored by donations.
People of different backgrounds volunteered to join Eli's team of medics. The Jews, the Muslims, the Christians, and everyone else. And overall, they saved over 3.5 million people.
My dad got a heart attack. The first person to help, the fastest response, was from a Jewish volunteer. And my dad is a Muslim.
We save lives in the United Hatzalah. We save everyone's lives. We save Jewish lives, Christians, Muslims. We actually, not only we save lives, we want everyone who wants to save lives to be part of this organization. When I hear people saying apartheid, I laugh. Because I know from every day in my own life that Arabs in this organization are equal to every Jew in this organization. In the United Hatzalah, hundreds of Muslim volunteers who are, some of them even Palestinians. They're not Israeli Muslims. And they are part of this organization. They get everything, all the medical equipment Jewish people get, they get. And this happens not only in the United Hatzalah, it happens all around Israel. Jews, Muslims, and Christians could live equally in this country, not like in our neighbor countries. This country, Israel, is the most open country for any religion, for any type of person, no matter who you are. And that's the beauty about Israel. Now, of course, we have people around the world who don't like Israel. And it comes from anti-Semitism, it comes from ignorance, or it comes from jealousy. Why is a country younger than 70 years old so successful in the world? So for sure, lots of countries will be jealous. Our neighbor countries who don't like us build their wealth from oil. They're taking all the richness of their land and using it mostly for their own good. Their people are poor. Their people have nothing to eat. In our country, in Israel, this is a country who uses the brains to build our country, uses goodness, the heart of the good people. Look, what we did in the United Hatzalah is only one example how we're showing the world what it means saving lives. And last year, I remember one of our volunteers in the United Hatzalah got an emergency call. A person was hurt from a shrapnel, seriously hurt. He ran to save this person. This person was not even a Jewish person. He was a Palestinian who worked in the fields there. He ran, and under fire, he treated him and saved his life. We're now in our command center, which is works 24/7, around the clock. You see here in this room, he's now in charge of the dispatch center, and he's Muslim. He's Muslim. He lives in East Jerusalem, and he volunteers together with a Hasidic Jew. Came in from he's from Brooklyn originally. They work together on any situation, in every type of situation, in war, in times of peace. We treat about 750 people every day here. I went to treat a young fireman who went to take care of an incident, and while he was using the hose to put down the fire, another attack happened, and a shrapnel went straight into his head. I was able, before the ambulance arrived, under fire, I heard the missiles above my head. It was scary. And I have 5 children of my own, and I'm thinking, what kind of nut am I to put my life in danger? I'm not getting money from this. It's not my job. But I knew I'm here in a mission to save lives. And my mission is going to protect me. And I actually saved this young man, Shimon, who is in touch with me till today.
It's really about service, and I say that very sincerely. When it becomes about you, the host, it's boring to the viewer, because remember, you're a guest in people's houses. You have to come to them with good ideas, like this one. The fact that they can volunteer themselves and almost immediately begin saving lives, there's no one in the world who shouldn't know about this.
This is an army beeper alert, pager alert. They let us know if a missile is on the way to somewhere, which direction did it go to, where. So before it lands, we already send our volunteers. wearing bulletproof vests and helmets in order for them not to get hurt towards the area that they could treat victims that will have that, unfortunately. So it takes a missile between 30 seconds and 3 minutes to reach the ground. Our volunteers are usually on the way to the scene or actually on the scene already while the missile is hitting.
I want to take you to Israel in pictures and film. I want you to see how God's sovereign hand can be seen before our eyes right here in this land. That's why PJTN is offering a special anniversary package that includes a captivating new book and award-winning DVD. Israel Rising is a unique visual story of Israel's miraculous journey from unforgiving desert to thriving nation. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Ezekiel foretold a future time in which the arid land of Israel would come alive for its people. Now this breathtaking book documents the fulfillment of this vision, as rarely seen photographs from the 1880s to the 1940s are juxtaposed with recent photos of the same locations. This book will inspire and captivate you as it illuminates Israel's foretold awakening in a new and unforgettable way. In addition, you'll receive the award-winning documentary, Israel Indivisible: The Case for the Ancient Homeland. This inspiring film examines the many political twists and turns that make Israel the world's most controversial nation. From Abraham and the Promise to the issues facing the Jewish state today, the film examines the historical, archaeological, legal, and biblical foundations for the modern state of Israel. This is a limited time offer for these two remarkable resources for just a one-time gift of $70 today. Your generous donation will help ensure that PJTN stays on the front lines and in the headlines of all the important issues facing Israel and our Jewish brethren. So please go to pjtn.org today. From studying history, it's very clear that what starts with the Jews never ends only with the Jews. We must strongly stand against any anti-Semitic trends, for if not stopped, they'll cause harm to all of us, and we'll witness the downfall of our Judeo-Christian Western culture. Today, many people say there's no longer a need for a Jewish state, that Jews around the world no longer need a place of refuge. But anyone who has heard recent statistics about the worldwide rise in anti-Semitism would never make such a claim. The reality is that neo-Nazi groups and Nazi sympathizers are increasing around the world. Surveys show that over 1 billion people in the world harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. Close to 50% believe that Jews have too much power in the business world, and 2/3 of the world's population has never heard of the Holocaust or believe the historic accounts of it are inaccurate. Don't let yourself be manipulated by evil people with a wicked agenda. When the self-serving villains are in control, good people from all religions suffer. Muslims, Christians, and all people of conscience should stand proudly and show respect for a country that gives so much to the world in so many ways. Do your part, do your research, and do what you can to make a difference. Because what happens in Israel does affect us all. This is not just a Jewish or just an Israeli problem. This is a problem for all humanity, for each and every one of us who believe in freedom and human rights. Learn more about what you can do at pjtn.org.
I grew up in a small neighborhood in Jerusalem. When I was 6 years old, I was walking back from school on a Friday afternoon with my older brother. We passing by a bus stop. We saw a bus blow up in front of our eyes. I remember an old man yelling to us and crying to help us get him up. We were so scared and we just ran away. When I was 15, I took an EMT course and I went to volunteer in an ambulance. For 2 years, I volunteered in an ambulance in Jerusalem. I helped many people, but whenever someone really needed help, I never got there in time. We never got there. The traffic is so bad, the distance and everything, we never got there when someone really needed us. One day, we received a call about a 7-year-old child choking from a hot dog. Traffic was horrific, and we were coming from the other side of town. When we got there, 20 minutes later, we started CPR on the kid. A doctor comes in from a block away, stops us, checks the kid, and tells us to stop CPR. That second, he declared this child dead. If this doctor, who lived 1 block away from there, would have come 20 minutes earlier and not have to wait till that siren you heard before coming from the ambulance, if he would have heard about it way before, he would have saved this child. He could have ran from a block away. He could have saved this child. I said to myself, there must be a better way. Together with 15 of my friends, we were all EMTs. We decided, let's protect our neighborhood. So when something like that happens again, we will be there running to the scene a lot before the ambulance. I went and I bought 2 police scanners. And we did turns, who's going to listen to the radio scanners. The next day, while I was listening to the scanners, I heard about a call coming in of a 70-year-old man hurt by a car only 1 block away from me on the main street of my neighborhood. I ran there by foot. I had no medical equipment. When I got there, the 70-year-old man was laying on the floor. Blood was gushing out of his neck. He was on Coumadine. I knew I have to stop his bleeding or else he will die. I took off my yarmulke because I had no medical equipment, and with a lot of pressure, I stopped his bleeding. He was bleeding from his neck. When the ambulance arrived 15 minutes later, I gave him over a patient who was alive. At that moment, when I realized this is the first person I ever saved in my life after 2 years volunteering in an ambulance, I knew this is my life mission. So today, 22 years later, we have United Hatzalah. Hatzalah means rescue. For all of you who don't know Hebrew, I forgot I'm not in Israel. So we have thousands of volunteers who are passionate about saving lives, and they spread all around. So whenever a call comes in, they just stop everything, go and run and save a life. Our average response time today went down to less than 3 minutes in Israel. We're not there to replace ambulances. We're just there to get the gap between the ambulance call until they arrive. And we save people that otherwise would not be saved. We all want to be heroes. We just need a good idea, motivation, and lots of chutzpah, and we could save millions of people that otherwise would not be saved. Thank you very much. But this is actually my ambi-cycle. I drive this because of the situation now. And all the terror events happening around Jerusalem, I'm with this 24/7. I drive, I go home with this, I go to work, I go everywhere I go with this in case they have something. With a car or with an ambulance, you can't get there on time. I have top medic equipment in here, oxygen tank, defibrillator, everything you need is in here. This bag of equipment, medical equipment, has literally everything an ambulance has. It's only a small part. An oxygen tank, resuscitation equipment, IV equipment, bandages, and everything else is in here. So I could actually start triage, start stabilizing, and everything else. And by the time the ambulance arrives there, this person is treated. So he doesn't have to start getting his treatment when the ambulance arrives. I go to a call, I could actually start. The medical supplies, I just want to show you, when a volunteer uses his supplies, he comes here. We have these young boys who come here, they're not medics, but they come volunteer here in their time. They come volunteer here to help supply the volunteers. So here you see all the stuff we use on the field. Airways, you even have here birth kits. We deliver lots of babies every day around the country. You know, a woman's on the way to the hospital and they have traffic. The baby doesn't have patience to wait for the traffic to clear out. And many other situations where a woman didn't realize the baby's starting to fly out, you know? Especially in the most religious areas where they have 9 or 10 babies. After the 5th one already, the baby flies out. We have here kids from a school nearby where he volunteers here, also. He's this young man. He learns in a school here, a special school. And he comes here and he volunteers to help out supplying, filling up the bags. The reason we took him is because he needed a special airway to sleep with, a CPAP. And he didn't want to take it. He didn't want to take it. And he said to his teachers, only if I become a volunteer of Hatzalah, I will use it. So we made him a volunteer of ours. And last thing I want to show you is bulletproof vests and helmets that we give out. We supply volunteers because this is EMS. We're there, we're not soldiers. We're here to save lives, but unfortunately terrorists they see us as Jews, they want to kill us. They see us as Israelis, they want to kill us. Even our Arab volunteers who are loyal to Israel, they want to hurt them. This is a helmet for protection for your head from shrapnel, shooting, and others. And this is to protect your body. It's not 100% protection, but it's about 75% protection. And we had volunteers who were saved because they were wearing this protection. And this was actually donated by a group of friends from Texas who helped us support this. We just had last week, Saturday night, this young terrorist started stabbing this young man, and another person ran to help him. Our volunteers arrived there with the motorcycles, the ambucycles, inside the old city of Jerusalem, the Shuk. They were going down the steps with the motorcycles. They knew people needed help. That a woman, this man that was killed, his wife was injured seriously with a knife still stuck in her body. Our volunteers ran to her. They ran to her children who were injured as well. They started treating. One of her kids had a bullet in his leg. And because the terrorists grabbed the gun from one of these people, the protection gun he had, and they started treating this woman. And the next day, hearing that this woman woke up, and eventually she'll be released. I just heard tomorrow she'll be released. Gives me a great satisfaction because I know that for the first 25 minutes, our volunteers were stabilizing and treating her, and her, unfortunately, they couldn't save her husband. But this woman will be saved and her children will have a mother. And the children were saved as well. So this gives me the motivation and satisfaction to go ahead and to continue United Hatzalah's work, not only in Israel, but all around the world.
I want to thank each and every one of you for your generosity, because through it, many more lives will be saved and many people will be helped now and into the future.
One thing I found interesting was seeing Jews and Muslims working together. The cooperation we see at United Hatzalah could be a model for Israel to move towards peace. As a volunteer and free emergency service, United Hatzalah is sustained through donations from people all around the world. You can help by giving today. Please go to israelrescue.org. Well, that's our program for today, and I want you to know we appreciate your support. The time to take a stand is now. Be a leader in your community and in your church. One person can make a difference. Get involved with and support pro-Israel organizations such as PJTN. Call your senators, congressmen. Let your elected leaders hear from you. Visit our website to learn more. Sign up to receive free action alerts and order our films to share with family and friends. Please encourage everyone you know to tune in and become informed. God bless you, and thank you for all you do on behalf of our Jewish brethren and all Israel. We'll see you next time on Focus on Israel.
To support this program, send your tax-deductible gift to Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, P.O. Box 682711, Franklin, Tennessee 37068. You can also support PJTN online. Visit pjtn.org or call 1-877-873-9020.
Anti-Semitism has reached epic proportions, and Israel is now surrounded by nations who seek its destruction. For Israel to lose just one battle would mean losing everything. As Christians, it is our biblical responsibility to stand with our Jewish brethren and Israel. PJTN needs your help to reach more Christians with this urgent message. Please visit our website to become a member today and order our award-winning documentaries. You must decide that you won't be silent. Sign up now at pjtn.org. God bless you, and thank you for your support and prayers.
Focus on Israel is now available on DVD. Each program DVD contains a wealth of bonus materials, including the premiere program that started it all, Focus on Israel, program number 1. Also, bonus interview cuts with experts in their respective fields. Informational videos from PJTN documentaries, including Israel Indivisible, the case for the ancient homeland. Lest we forget 9/11 and the rise of Islam. The Forgotten People, Christianity and the Holocaust. Disinformation, the secret strategy to destroy the West. Plus the award-winning music video, The Forgotten People. Focus on Israel program DVDs, great educational tools to combat anti-Semitism. Arm yourself and order today. Please go online to pjtn.org. To order, just click on the Store tab. Thanks and blessings from Focus on Israel.